All right. Well, hi Lexi. I hope everything's going good with you down there. Let me give a brief summary for people who may be watching this video for the very first time. So I have a niece who bought her very first motorcycle. She lives down in North Carolina and I live up here in Connecticut. And before she can take it out on the road, she needs to do some work on it. So she's been working really hard on that, and she's doing a really great job. So I can't be there to help her. So what I've decided to do is I decided to put out a few videos basically giving her the best beginner motorcycle rider advice that I can based on my experience and based on what I've learned. So I'm going to be also demonstrating some of the drills, Lexi, that I want you to practice. So let's get started. I mean, the very first thing I want to do is give you some advice on some good motorcycle riding practices, right? And here's the very first one. Now you're going to be obviously practicing a lot of things, but one of the things that I want you to practice every single time, right, is whenever you go ahead and complete the turn, get into the habit of checking your turn signal and making sure that it's off, right? Especially if your bike doesn't have an automatic shut off. Because a lot of accidents don't just happen because of reckless behavior, right? But some accidents may happen due to lack of communication. If somebody behind you sees your turn signal on and you don't turn, they may think that you're actually going to turn and may speed up, and they may run into you. Or the opposite, right? You could be, having your turn signal on for a while, and somebody behind you may think that you just forgot and may try to pass you on your left, and then when you actually go and make that turn, you run into them. So that's one of the things that I want you to get into the habit of doing. Every time you complete a turn, double check to make sure that that turn signal is off. All right. So now let's talk about the drill that I want you to practice in this particular video. All right. So in the previous video, we went through emergency braking, and I believe that that's the best place and the first place that you should start. And again, that's just talking from experience, right? So the reason why I begin with braking and things like that is because you sound exactly like I did when I got my first motorcycle, and that is that I remember taking and driving it off the lot, and I already decided I'm riding this sucker everywhere, right? I took it to work. I took it for pleasure every time I got off of work, things like that. I mean, heck, even when I just went down to the 7-Eleven, which is really down the street, I brought my motorcycle, right? I mean, it was just, I was so enthused, and that's all I wanted to do. And I was having a great time until 3 weeks later, right? Like I mentioned in my first video, a kid cut in front of me, and obviously the rest is history. It ended up being a wreck. The bike was totaled, and my motorcycle riding experience was cut short. Anyway, I want you to avoid the problem that I had, right? And that is that you already told me you're going to take this motorcycle, you're going to go everywhere with it. Well, I want you to make sure that you know what to do in an emergency situation. So the drill that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video is basically a brake and evade drill. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like in a diagram here, and then I'm going to take you to the parking lot where I actually demonstrate this exercise for you. All right, sweetie. So in this brake and evade exercise, I will start in a parking lot similar to this one, right? Now what I'll do is I'll use some tennis balls that are cut in half to mark my stopping point, right? So then as I come in, right, I'm going to slow the motorcycle down as best as I can at that stopping point. Now I will make sure that the bike is in first gear, because as I'm rolling in, and it depends on how fast I'm going. I could be going 20, maybe 30 miles an hour, right? And so I'll be in like either second or third gear. I want to make sure that by the time I slow down to that stopping point, I'm in first gear, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to swerve to the left to avoid a collision. Now, what I'll do is I'll come around and do the same drill all over again, but this time I'm going to be swerving to the right. So now let's take a look at a scenario of what this could look like out on the street. All right. Now you're riding in your own lane, enjoying a ride, and there's an oncoming car in the opposite lane, right? So now for some unknown and unexpected reason, the car in the opposite lane fails to see you and decides to take a quick left, turning right into your lane. Now what you need to do is you need to slow the bike down quickly or come to a complete stop. Emergency braking, right? But in this particular example, you're going to swerve to the left or to the right to avoid the collision. And then what's going to happen is that you're going to keep on enjoying your ride. You're going to be thanking God and thanking your awesome uncle for giving you this great advice. All right, sweetie, so here's what you want to do. After you've already marked your stopping point, you want to go ahead and ride your motorcycle in a straight line, and in a speed that you feel comfortable. Start slow, and then just build your speed up from there as you practice more and more. You want to ride your motorcycle in a straight line to that stopping point, slowing down the motorcycle as much as you can without coming to a complete stop. All right, and you want to make sure that the motorcycle is in first gear. So if you're riding and you're in second gear or third gear, you want to practice downshifting down to first gear. After you do that, you want to turn your head in the direction that you want to turn and go ahead and turn in that direction. All right, let's look at it from another angle before I break this down. All right, so now watch what happens here. I'm driving down my lane, and then I realize right about here that, hey, there's danger ahead, and I'm going to have to make an abrupt stop, right? So what you're going to see me do here is you're going to see me downshift down the first gear, and then I'm going to look in the direction that I want to turn. In this case, I'm going to be turning right, and then I'm going to take that turn after I look. All right, and that basically covers it. Right now, what I'm going to do now, and this is going to be your homework, is I'm going to introduce you to Jerry Palladino, aka Motorman from Ride Like a Pro. I'm sending you his Ride Like a Pro experience video. I want you to go ahead and fast forward to about an hour and 3 minutes into that video, and he goes through a break and escape exercise that will give you even more of a reference so that when you go out and practice, you know what to look for, you know what to do. Anyway, so that's it. Listen, start slow, build up your speed as you get better and more proficient, and that's about it. So God bless you. I love you, and I will see you at the next video.